And thanks for dialing in, everybody. This machines is a huge opportunity for our tenants, and I think it's something which, understandably sometimes falls to the back of the agenda when we're discussing income for pubs. Just by comparison, here some interesting stats that Wetherspoons this year reported an uplift of 11% in machine revenue. And there are pub companies out there that 70% of whatever is taken in the bar is replicated in machines. So, I don't want to steal any of Joe's thunder here, but, this presentation hopefully will go through some of the disciplines of what you need to do to get your machines in that place. Unfortunately, there's very little that is required. Most of it is just about sizing of machines and switching them on. But I won't steal any of your thunder, Joe. I'll let you carry on, and I'll go on mute. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete. Okay, so I'm Joanne, and I manage all of the gaming machines across Pub Partners, L&T, and franchise brands. I just wanted to cover off the benefits of the machines. Some of you will have machines, some of you will be wondering what they bring. If you have a machine concession agreement with you, you obviously get a reduction in your rent. Now, there's nothing complicated or time consuming. There's no big effort with having machines in your premises. All they need is a little bit of TLC and a little bit of customer consideration. So on top of the rent reduction, there's no staff costs, there's no additional costs, there's no hidden costs. It's pure profit. So there's no national insurance, there's no holidays to cover. The running costs are low. They're a relatively small footprint in your pub compared to a seat or a table. And they can really increase your profit. And with all the rising costs that you're facing this year, it could be a solution to mitigate those. One thing that I think is overlooked when operating machines is the value of machines to your customers. So I've taken a look at how much a machine sale is relevant to. So £113,000 per machine per year is played through our gaming machines. Now, I don't consider cash box to performance of a machine because payout percentage can fluctuate. But VTP, the value to player, is also another measure taken at every collection that identifies how well a machine is performing in your site. Now, that VTP translates into the state by customer, and that's not the amount of money put into the machine, it's the amount of money that's actually played through the machine by way of features and banked and the cash going through. So where the cash box can fluctuate, the VTP is more stable, so it's a better way to measure how successful your machines are. Now, if you've got £113,000 going through a machine, that is increasing dwell time, it's increasing your sales across the bar, it's giving your customers a reason to visit. Now, I know that there's a big haboo about gambling, but on digital machines, the payout percentage has increased from 74% to 87%. So only 13% is the cost to the customer. On top of that, there's 20% MGD after the 87 won by the customer. So it's much better value for a player because there's more choice, there's more interaction time, there's more gameplay time because there's more features included, and there's more choice with the number of games on each individual machine. So if you can overlook a bottom line of £4,000 per machine on average per year, how else are you going to make up this gap? Oh, sorry, hang on. So what are customers looking for? You've got to consider the customer in every aspect of introducing machines into your pub. Customers want top quality machines. The new digital type have regular game updates. It's all done remotely, all the updates and even remote fixing is done overnight. If you use reputable suppliers, then they're going to be investing in the machines, they're going to be investing in their game updates. You're going to get the best option for your customers. The simple thing is keep them clean and fully functioning. A daily check will take you about 5 minutes. Is the note acceptor flashing red? If it's flashing red, there's a problem, it's not accepting money. Make a service call. Report faults as soon as possible. The sooner you report a fault, the sooner you get an engineer there. And generally, it's normally about maximum of 2-hour response time from reputable suppliers. If you don't report faults and you rely on your collectors or a random engineer visit, none of those get logged against the machine, so you build up no service history. So if you're getting a repetitive problem, say the note acceptor's faulty Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, if you're not phoning those faults through, it's not logged against that machine. You can always request a service history from the supplier, and I do this regularly, and this can determine whether a machine needs changing, whether a note acceptor needs changing. It identifies a lot of issues. So making those calls is crucial to making your machines operate properly. So availability is really important as well. The correct density in your pub can make such a massive difference to the performance of your machines. If you have high VTP on your machine or machines, it can indicate that it will support another machine. And I frequently hear that, oh, it will just dilute the income. Well, that's not altogether true, because we can get different machines in, giving them more options, giving them more choice. You might have a machine that's paying out high percentage or low percentage, which will make their choice, it will change their choice. If you have a fault on a machine and it's out of order and you don't have another machine, then you're not earning any money. You're not giving the customer what they want. If you've got too many machines in your pub and it does dilute the income, then the machines can become volatile and pay out high. So it's at this point that we study the VTP. We may choose to reduce the number temporarily, consolidate the VTP, strengthen that machine income, and then later look to reinstall. So they're only temporary measures, but either way, it's getting your density right for your customers. Accessibility is really important. The correct position so you can monitor underage play. These are age restricted products, just like alcohol. So you need to make sure these players are over 18. They can't be hindered by furniture. They can't be in the way of your other customers. It's got to feel like part of the pub. If you've got a corner where nothing else works, a machine isn't going to work either. Give it the best chance possible. So if your players are going to put £113,000 through a machine, consider the comfort. Is there a stall available if they want one? How much time are they spending at that machine? Are they going to walk away from that machine because they're stood up and there's nowhere to sit? Is there a drink table? It's still a cash society on machines. They need access to the wallets. They need to be able to put the drink down so they can go in their pocket. And if a player's at a machine and they're doing well or they're chasing, it doesn't matter. If they need to leave that machine to go back to the bar to get a drink and somebody else jumps in their place because you haven't got enough machines in the pub, then that will be the end of that customer for you. Another one is they don't want to be hindered when they're putting money in or equally taking the winnings out of a machine. So modern day machines, the premium machines these days are much more efficient at recycling the cash that goes through them. However, would you know how much cash is in that machine? If your coin hopper drops below £100, it can switch your note acceptor off. If your note acceptor switches off, you're losing the bulk of your business because most of the business is with notes. Refilling notes is the single most important thing. However, we've overcome this in pub partners by insisting that where possible on collection, the collectors leave notes in the float. So this reduces the need for refills, but you should keep your eye on it day by day. It takes 30 seconds to turn the key, see what's in your machines, and if it needs refilling, just do it then. And a lot of them don't need it because they just continue to refill. But if your machine's running through a high percentage, it may need it, and that will make a difference to your income. So what do you need to do? Honestly, the most simple thing is switch it on. I can't tell you how many pubs I go into and there's nobody in the pub and the machine's switched off or there's a couple of people having breakfast. If you are licensed to serve alcohol, you are licensed to operate machines. So make that available because it could be an extra reason for someone to come to you. Report faults as soon as you can, and like I touched on before, don't rely on the collectors, don't rely on a random engineer visit. Collectors, once they leave your pub, you are not in their thoughts. They're on to the next pub. It is not their job to report faults, and again, you don't get the service history. Consider your customer. Is it fully working? Is it clean? Is it in the right position? And nailing that density could make a massive difference. So I'll use the suppliers to maybe come in and speak to tied tenants because I can't get around the country. They have people on the ground. If you've got a supplier coming into you suggesting removal or addition of AWP, it is from my request. It's because I'm looking at your data and I'm trying to maximise your revenue. So the cost of running machines is really low. So this was calculated when all the energy costs were inflated in 2023 using a 33p per kilowatt cost, and we're much below that at the moment. But this is the current average profit to you from a fruit machine and cashless pool table. So if you consider the cost against the weekly profit, it's just false economy to be switching them off or not having them on when you're licensed to have them on. By all means, switch them off at night. I understand that. But bear in mind that with digital machines, any game downloads, any updates, any remote machine repairs are done when the machine's switched on, normally overnight. So the sooner you can get your machine on in the morning, the sooner all those downloads are going to stream into your machine, so it's operational again. So some of the common myths that I hear when I'm visiting pubs, or I get questions from BDMs, and there's this understanding that they can attract the wrong customers. Now, insights tell us that all demographics play machines. It's almost an even split between women and men, which even surprised me, to be honest. It might be different patterns, different times of day, depending on how they run their days. But it is all demographics. The other thing that they don't work in food pubs, I actually agree that they don't tend to work in restaurant areas or restaurants. But if you have a public bar or a welcoming bar, there is absolutely no reason why a machine can't work for you in there. Refills are a headache. Totally agree. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. However, we've tried to mitigate this by increasing the float levels and by having 83% of our machines premium level. So they do refill the recyclers better, they do perform better, but you just need to keep an eye. And it's not a case of refilling every day. You might not have to refill for 2 weeks, but if it's gone through a high percentage payout, the best thing you can do is refill that machine. I also hear that they're too noisy and nobody wants an arcade in the pub. But they all have a volume control that is accessible through your refill key. So it's better to have a level of volume for the players because it affects the features and their gameplay, but it does not have to be disruptive to other customers. And you might feel like they don't make you any money. It's a much higher value to your customers because it gives them time to do what they want to do and the time spent. But if you consider the add-on spend from that, it can be the highest earning footprint in your pub. So I just wanted to touch on what's coming down the line and share a bit of knowledge about legislation. So there's been talk of debit cards being considered to be used on gambling machines. It's been delayed because of the changes in government over the last couple of years. It's still in the workings. We're just waiting for the white paper. So it has been delayed, which means that cash availability is still important for machine success. There's now talk of a stake and prize review, which we've not had for years. It's been a pound stake and £100 prize. They're now looking or considering a £1.50 stake and £150 prize. So using your reputable suppliers again, you'll get that first. They'll invest in that straight away because it's going to be so valuable. So signage, use blackboards, use posters. If and when you get that product, promote it. Now, there's a big concern about an age verification process becoming compulsory across the industry. So if you operate machines, you need to be part of an age verification process. So what we've done, we've created a training module for L&T. Whether you're free of tie or tied, it will be available to everyone on Flow, and we're just looking to get this out in the not too distant future, but you'll get comms about that as well. If we don't improve our age verification results, which are really poor across the industry, then local authorities are going to have greater powers to do license reviews. It's going to be based on alcohol tests and machine, just age-regulated products. And then lastly, I just wanted to point out that this tool is available on pubpartners.net. If you use the toolbar to search for machines, it will take you to this toolkit. And it shows our 5 steps to machine success. Granted, at the moment it is a little bit outdated, and we are looking at renewing this at the moment, so that will go straight on there. But it just covers the points that we've covered today, really. Good practice, benefits of refilling. There's also details of good practice, may help you increase your income. It's got links directly to useful pages, licensee responsibilities, gambling commission information, MGD and registration, and local authority guidelines. And it also outlines some ways to make sure you're getting the best from your machine supplier. And for those of you that might be tired, if you've got any issues with your machine supplier, just bring me into it. That's what I'm there for. You've got enough to do. I will pick up any issues with machine suppliers that you have. And that's the introduction on machines.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jo. Really appreciate that. There's lots of information in there to help everybody really utilise machines to increase those revenues. I'll hand over now to Pete, who will sum up the session and ask for any questions.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you, Jo. Thank you for that. I think that really highlights for me how important machines are in pubs, and some of the information there around common misconceptions. People seem to think that machines won't work in a pub or aren't right for the pub, but they are, considering for 4 square feet of carpet and the amount of energy cost to run them, just how profitable they can be. So thank you very much, Jo. I thought that was great. Has anybody got any questions? Anything they'd like to ask? Well, thank you very much.
If you do have any questions, Jo's always available for you to drop her a line at Joanne Fallon at greenking.co.uk. And obviously you've also got your BDM that you can speak to.